is way better than what I was before, and that's my headspace that I'm in. That only matter to me.
Like, he puts pressure on guys without throwing too many punches, and then he starts to figure holes out, and the way he can explode and move in with one.
And it shouldn't be. But he's sparring the level of heavyweight that, more experienced than Jake Paul, right? But Jake Paul has beaten those heavyweights himself, right?
Gervonta Davis didn't hold back during his appearance on the Joe Rogan Podcast, firing a fierce warning at Jake Paul ahead of their upcoming fight. The powerhouse made it clear that he's not viewing Jake as some side attraction, but as a man who picked the wrong opponent. When Rogan pressed him for details, Davis said bluntly, "This ain't entertaining."
Get the same thing. I gotta be in there with him. I don't know, probably this was a good thing, us fighting. Cause you have someone that, things like that, just gotta adapt as Sid wins come November the 14th. We come from two different sides, of the world. We still on the same path. To be able to, his arm reach, his size, his power, the way he move and thing. I fight him. I think it's gonna be a great event. Every time I fight, it's fireworks.
This is personal. I think maybe it's a good thing we're fighting because it shows how two people from completely different worlds can still chase the same goal. I have to step in there with him, feel out his reach, his size, his power, how he moves, everything. I just need to adapt as the fight goes on. It's going to be an amazing event. Every time I fight, it's fireworks. Boxing wins come November 14. We're giving the sport what it needs. Pure excitement.
Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, because that's all for entertainment. What does it say? For entertainment purposes only, right? It's just somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. It's fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, So,
From Davis's point of view, this fight feels like redemption. After his March 2025 draw against Lamont Roach Jr., his first non-victory as a pro, critics began wondering if his dominance was fading. Now, with his legacy and world title status on the line, Davis sees this as a chance to silence the doubters and prove he's still among boxing's elite. Even if the bout isn't officially sanctioned.
That I've actually ever been, because I know how good these people are that I'm sparring, and being able to see how good they are and knowing how good Tank is, it's actually going to be my toughest test to date.
Yeah, I think, Jake, you could make the argument, right? Pound for pound wise, this guy's the most ferocious dude in the whole sport, couldn't you?
For sure. I think he has probably one of the highest knockout percentages.
Yeah, 90-something%, right?
Exactly. And just his speed, his elusiveness, his ring IQ, his conditioning. He's gone 12 rounds so many different times, something that I've never even done. So he's going to be sharp all the way through. I mean, the list goes on. And so just actually being vulnerable for a second, it's like, this is crazy. This is scary. It's kind of keeping me up at night.
Jake, how do you prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you? How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed. and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to like lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punches are coming.
Paul has openly admitted that facing Gervonta Davis will be the toughest test of his career. Though he holds the edge in size and reach, Paul recognizes Davis as a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter whose skill, power, and ring IQ demand full focus. He says it's not just about his strengths. He knows Davis brings every weapon possible, and if he wants to win, he'll have to bring something extra to the table.
Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. What can you tell me about that? What can you tell me about why Jake and Anthony has maybe been put to the side for now?
Yeah, they always told us that it was, we were looking at that fight for February of next year, and they always said that there was a chance that Jake would fight in November. I think, wasn't I the one that broke Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis 6 months ago or something? I knew that they'd agree that deal. I didn't know they were about to announce it then. But I did know that they'd agreed that deal previously. So I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept. And that's what that is. It's a freak show. It's entertainment. It's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round? I don't know what it is, but I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson, but it did massive numbers. I hate Jake Paul against Gervonta Davis. It'll probably do massive numbers. So that's when you really have to differentiate yourself between
Paul's boxing rise has been a mix of showmanship and marketing spectacle, but this opponent is his most dangerous test yet, both in skill and status. A victory over Davis, no matter how the bout is classified, would shift how seriously people take him as a fighter. The $50 million purse he mentioned publicly shows that the stakes, both financially and competitively, have never been higher.
Coming in, some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're going to hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just going to bring in a plethora of fighters that...
In a bold move before facing Tank Davis, Jake Paul has added Shakur Stevenson to his training camp, an announcement that immediately set the internet buzzing. Stevenson, a 3-division world champion known for his slick defense and sharp technique, will spar with Paul to improve his timing, speed, and ring IQ, pushing him to rely less on brute strength and more on precision.
Because Tank said, look, this is a bit unfair. I don't want to punch up. I want to punch at my head height. Where does it fall?
At Jake Paul's belly.
Poof.
So apparently we've heard there's no knockdown rules, but aside from that, it's a pretty well-rounded fight. Oh yeah, and there's some drug testing involved.
But Jake Paul for the win.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You get what I'm saying? And we'll go from there because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mismatch. It's supposed to be expedition.
Why does it matter?
What, now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? All these prescriptions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? Tank don't really care, So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts.
The Tank fight is getting really weird.
Gervonta looks scared for his life because the rules are out. They're crazy. Oh, so everyone thought that the fight was at 190. Instead it's at 195, and this weight difference is scaring the life out of little Tank.
Over 10 3-minute rounds. I said it was 190.
The next dispute comes with the gloves.
Little Tank is used to fighting in 8-ounce gloves.
Baby glove.
This fight will be in 12. Hands might be too small. Oh, so Tank just fought in a 12 3-minute round fight against
Roach.
Yes.
And now he's fighting in 10 3-minute rounds, which isn't too bad. Well done, Jake.
Exhibition though, can he win?
Yes, he can actually win. It will be overlooked by 3 sanctioned judges.
So he can actually still win and knock him out.
But here's the trick. It's body punches only.
And there's a reason.
Not much is leaked from training camp, but what's come out says a lot. Davis's trainer voiced concern about the fight setup, especially the use of 12-ounce gloves, which are rare for major fights, and questioned the exhibition format overall. He argued that the weight difference made it unfair, and that adjustments in glove size or round count would have helped balance things out. Still, the fight will go on as planned. 10 3-minute rounds, both fighters wearing 12-ounce gloves.
Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul, people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence.
Even though it's labeled an exhibition, the promotion is treating it like a full-scale main event. Netflix has secured the streaming rights, and the Grand Theft Auto-themed poster has been a major part of the hype. The undercard is stacked with real-world title fights to add legitimacy and keep fans invested throughout the night.
Weird pocket watching?
A little bit here.
Like, what do you think?
50 to 100 mil.
You're closer on the first number.
Wow, that's so crazy to me,
People are like 200. It's just like, nah. Boxing's not like that anymore.
For Davis, this fight is a statement. His chance to expose what he calls Jake's hand-picked record and show real boxing fans that he's unafraid to step into unfamiliar territory. For Paul, it's easily the biggest payday of his career. He said he expects to make around $50 million in one night.
Move it all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days. Yeah. Can't hit nowadays, you know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence, you know? They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like, I don't know the official one. They're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like, I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say it.
I like when it's all said and done, and when you guys go off, they go into the next man. Yeah. So if y'all can make a big payday, go get that payday. The sport of boxing don't love you, and that's the problem with this sport. It's like what Jake Paul did, man. It's crazy. But people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby. I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not mad at this.
Former champion Sean Porter offered a more personal take on Jake Paul's rise. He said most fighters accept Jake's offers for the money, not respect. The paydays are massive, and few can resist them. But Porter pointed out that Jake still hasn't earned true respect in boxing circles. People admire his business game, not his ring skills. His team knows how to sell fights, but real respect only comes from facing and beating elite fighters. Money can't buy that. This fight shows how boxing has become more of a business than ever. For Jake, it's a chance to prove he belongs among real fighters. For Tank, it's a test to see how far his brand can go beyond the sport itself. Both are powerful marketers, but while Jake thrives on spectacle, Tank thrives on skill.
A victory, unless he's landing the right jab, grab, breathe. Meanwhile, Tank's downloading, collecting timestamps. Ever see a big guy wrestle? Yeah, those first few minutes looks like a forklift, but by minute 5, forklift needs a nap. Can a forklift catch a fly? Only if the fly gets lazy. Jake's body will be open, especially after mid-fight when hands start sinking. And when the guard starts to wither away, so will the chin. Body shots don't ask permission, they collect rent. Liver! You don't need to be a frame, seen it 100 times. You touch torso early, you tag shoulders late. The heavyweight to fold a man who's exhaling. A small, sharp guy versus a taller.
Despite the criticism, most people can't help but be curious. Traditional boxing can feel slow or predictable, but Jake Paul brings a wild, unpredictable energy. Adding Gervonta Davis into that mix takes the chaos to another level. Even fans who've stopped watching boxing might tune in, not because they care who wins, but for the sheer entertainment. In a strange way, this fight captures what modern audiences crave, something wild, uncertain, and controversial.
More experience than him, but this one's a little too much, right? This one is crazy because of the massive weight difference. Doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, as far as a sport fight is concerned, I want to make sure I make that clear. Again, this is not me hating on it, because I do think that both guys have been very upfront with what they're doing in this fight and what their goals are with these kind of events. But the narrative Jake's trying to create as if this is like proving anything for him fighting a real fighter when Gervonta is so much smaller than he is. It'll prove something in the fact that Jake is willing to put on great events, but it won't prove anything to the people that are asking him to fight a real fighter. I will say though, if Jake goes out and flatlines Gervonta, the casual audience that will say Gervonta smokes Jake completely and utterly, like it wouldn't even be close, that will change their minds a little bit. Not the people that know boxing, but the people that are going to watch this, the casual viewer that know the name Gervonta Davis and know the name Jake Paul. If he is to compete with Gervonta at all or look good in that fight, people will in some way accept that. Or they'll do the other thing where they just say the fight's right. And again, Jake's only been boxing for 5, 6, 7 years. It isn't necessarily far-fetched to try to have his own advantages when trying to fight other boxers.
Commentator Wade Plemons describes Jake Paul as a calculated strategist who uses fame and ego like weapons. He doesn't just fight, he plays mental chess before the first bell even rings. Jake controls the narrative, stirs emotions, and turns every exchange into viral content. Wade says Jake lured Gervonta Davis in by dangling huge money, global fame, and blockbuster appeal, making the fight impossible to turn down. Jake's real victory might not be in the ring, but in owning the conversation, making the spectacle as important as the outcome. The clash between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis.
I mean, the backlash is just what people do nowadays. That's just, you give somebody a keyboard, you give them a phone, and they able to hide their face. Yeah, they're gonna have a field day. The backlash I get, I understand. Would you say number 2, not fight Shakur?
Yeah, he's saying he'll never fight Shakur, that he ain't gonna do him no favors, that he ain't gonna help him make no money because Shakur broke or something like that. Something along those lines.
Yeah, I don't get all that. That's, you know what I mean? That's against the game. Like, you know what I mean? You at least owe that fight for the game. You know what I mean? You owe the rematch to Lamont for the game. But you owe Shakur for the game just because of the 2 style matchups. You know what I mean? But if he feel like he don't gotta fight him, guess what? We can't sit here and just go crazy about it. But it is kind of crazy. It is kind of corny. You know what I'm saying? If he not gonna fight Shakur, and if he's standing on it like, I'm not ever gonna fight you, I'm not doing you no favors. And all right. But then again, you know what? I don't know what them guys got going on. I don't know what they've been through personally. You know what I'm saying? But would I love to see that fight? Hell yeah, I would love to see that fight. And then number 3, you said what? You said
the retirement.
The retirement. Oh, boxing. Boxing. They're around. They're around. It's always gloves around. It's on you. It's on you.
Some boxing purists see this fight as an insult to the sport, pointing to the size gap and exhibition tag as proof it's more show than substance. Others argue it's exactly what boxing needs: fresh eyes, new audiences, and modern energy. Davis's fans believe he'll use the moment to show the difference between real skill and flashy promotion. Jake's supporters see him as tearing down old barriers and bringing star power to a sport craving attention. It's a generational divide. Some cherish boxing's purity, others love the spectacle. But one thing's for sure, this fight has everyone talking.
You, maybe everyone at some point has been that bigger guy, thinking that I'll just bully him. Jab, slip, liver shot, sent me down real nicely. Size helped until it didn't. All I'm saying is, let's not dismiss something because it looks weird. Many fights get decided by the details. Feet before fists, timing before muscle, discipline before clout. Look, Tank wins if he stays Tank. It's what wins. Will the entertainment value or the ring IQ come out on top? Because if Tank dominates, the meme dies. Jake Paul survives or hits it big, we see new rules are gonna be written in real time. He's built on patience, traps, explosive counters. That's hell.